Hey everyone, and welcome to this What I Eat in a Day. Today's video will be concentrating on produce that is seasonal in October. As of late, I have acquired a certain passion for produce that is seasonal in my region. I feel like a lot of people, including myself, aren't always aware of the fact that fruits and veggies don't grow all year all the time, as supermarkets might suggest. I really want to start being more connected to the natural cycle of our earth, of our world, and to the foods that grow in each season. With seasonal and regional produce, the time between the harvest and eating is a lot shorter. Therefore, the nutrient content is a lot higher and the environmental impact is a lot lower. It's also a really great way to support local farms. The MVP of breakfast is the pear. Seasonal from August all the way to January, this is a great source of vitamin C, K, potassium, and copper. Especially the skin is very high in antioxidants and plant compounds. I will be making a homemade granola, some coconut yogurt, and I'm going to top that with a sort of caramelized pear, I guess. It's a mix of like a poached pear and a caramelized pear. For the granola, I'm starting off with 4 tablespoons of hemp seeds, which are super high in omega-3 and protein, 4 tablespoons of normal oats, 2 tablespoons of flax seeds, which as well are high in omega-3s, and I'm just going to roast these in a pan without any oil until they become fragrant. That takes about 5 minutes, and then I just sprinkled on a packet of vanilla sugar, 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. Usually I would use maple syrup, but I was out, and it doesn't really make that big of a difference health-wise. Then I added a tablespoon of unsweetened almond butter and just stirred that up together until it was nice and clumpy, I guess. But it tasted really well, and it had just this great nutty aroma. For the poached caramelized pears, I just put them into a pan without any oil and just let them cook through. I did add some water just to help them soften up a bit because these were crunchier pears, I guess. There are different sorts of pears and some are softer and some are a bit crunchier, and I picked up the wrong kind, but they were still delicious. And to plate this up, I just put a whole container of this Harvest Moon coconut yogurt into a bowl, topped it with half of the granola and about a fourth of the poached pears. This combination was wonderful because the cold, creamy coconut just works so well with the still slightly warm, crunchy, nutty granola, and the fruitiness of the pears just really ties it up together. An absolutely marvelous replacement for the pears would have been apples, spiced with a little bit of cinnamon. Surprisingly, this really filled me up so much that I actually almost didn't feel like I needed lunch, so that's why lunch is a bit lighter. Our seasonal superstar number 2 is kale. This winter veggie is seasonal from October to March and is very nutrient dense, which makes it far more satisfying than iceberg or romana. Just 1 cup or 65 grams of kale contains about 200% of your vitamin A intake, over 600% of your vitamin K intake, and 130% of your vitamin C. It's also a great source of calcium, copper, and magnesium, many antioxidants, and lots of plant compounds. Seasonal from September to October, walnuts have the highest omega-3 and antioxidant content of all nuts. But why are antioxidants so important? Well, in a nutshell, pun intended, they fight free radicals, which is also known as oxidative stress. Oxidative stress causes inflammation, and that is the root of many diseases, such as heart disease or cancer. Another winter veggie that is packed with antioxidant plant compounds, vitamins, and minerals is the beetroot. Seasonal from October to March, it is also a really great source of fiber. These red rubies are sweet and earthy and complement kale in a salad beautifully. Kale is quite robust, so for it to be a bit more appetizing, you have to first massage it. For this, I just chopped it and washed it and put it into a bowl. Now I'm salting this because salt does break down some of those fibers and releases water. After that, I'm going to add the juice of 1 lemon. This is also essential because it helps the iron to be absorbed by the body. And then I just massage it. I really want to get this nice and soft so that it's more delicious and easy to be eaten in a salad. You'll know it's ready because it will have shrunk quite a lot in volume as well. And at that point, I'm adding olive oil, just a little bit of vinegar, cucumber, tomatoes, that lovely beetroot, cooked and chopped, half an avocado, some leftover poached pears from breakfast, and walnuts. This was for 2 people, and yes, I know it's of a lighter side. Usually for lunch I would add something like cooked buckwheat or some quinoa to this, but as I said, I was quite full from breakfast, so I just needed something lighter for lunch. But if you want it to be more filling, yes, please add some carbs in forms of grains or maybe some legumes like beans or chickpeas. After mixing it all up, I just ate it as it was, and this is really a great kind of wintry fall salad. I would have added dill if I had some, and adding some vegan feta is great as well. I had some in the fridge, but I wanted to keep that reserved for dinner. For dinner, I made loaded flatbread pizzas with one of Mother Nature's most beautiful edible specimen, the figs. They are just like all other fruits, high in vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and plant compounds, while being relatively low in calories, so they just make a really great snack as well. These edible geodes are seasonal from August to October and come in many different varieties. Last but not least, arugula. Seasonal from April till November, this deep leafy green has a peppery but very fresh taste. It also helps with bad breath if you chew it, and is high in calcium, potassium, folate, vitamin C, vitamin K, and vitamin A. The only real cooking you have to do for this recipe is caramelize the onions. For that, you have to cut up 3 red onions and fry them on very low heat with just a little bit of oil and some salt. It takes about 15 minutes, and you just want to make sure that you keep on stirring them so nothing burns. Once they're done, they should look something like this. Caramelizing onions always sounds a lot more intimidating and time-consuming than it really turns out to be. In the same pan where I caramelized the onions, I added just a little bit more olive oil and toasted one side of the flatbread. I then topped it with this beetroot horseradish spread. On top of that goes some chopped up arugula, one chopped fig. You want to just chop them nice and thinly. I find this works best with a serrated knife. After this, I'm putting on the caramelized onions. In retrospect, I would have put the caramelized onions first and then the figs. I am using a vegan feta for this by Zoyanda, and I'm just crumbling up about 1/8 of the whole wheel. Just making sure that every piece has a bit of feta so that every bite has the nice salty tang of the feta. And last but not least, I'm adding some more of those healthy, delicious walnuts. For seasonings, I'm just putting a little bit more salt on top of this, pepper, and a little bit of balsamic glaze. I would also highly recommend adding some dill to this, because dill really just works fantastically with beetroot and with figs. All in all, this was such an easy dinner. It took me like 15 minutes, including the caramelization of the onions, and you're getting a great balance of carbs, of fat, and also a little bit of protein from the feta. Thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe, comment, and see you next time.